If you like this video, please visit the JerryGarciaFoundation.org for more information. Jerome John Garcia, a founding member of the Grateful Dead, one of the most successful touring bands in music history, was born in San Francisco, California on August 1st, 1942. His father was a professional musician, and he took piano lessons as a child. At age 4, Garcia lost most of his third finger on his right hand in a childhood accident. A year later, his father drowned while on a fishing trip. When he was 15, Garcia heard Chuck Berry and took up the electric guitar, changing his life forever.
That was the thing that made me want to play. When I heard the electric guitar and Chuck Berry and all the great licks, the rock and roll licks, and just the sound of the electric guitar, I thought, I really want to do that.
Due to behavioral problems such as truancy and fighting, Garcia was forced to join the U.S. Army, but was discharged after 9 months. Following his departure from the military, Garcia meandered around San Francisco. However, after a devastating car accident in 1961, Garcia, who had studied at the San Francisco Art Institute, began to focus his talents exclusively on music.
I first played electric guitar. I took piano lessons as a kid, but it didn't take. But the first thing I got really serious about was the 5-string banjo. I heard bluegrass music, and that got to be something very important to me.
At the same time, he met Robert Hunter, with whom he would form a lifelong musical collaboration. The following year, Garcia met future Grateful Dead bass player Phil Lesh. By 1964, Garcia had formed bluegrass band Mother McCree's Uptown Jug Champions, with Bob Weir on guitar and Ron Pigpen McKernan on harmonica. A year later, with Phil Lesh joining on bass and Bill Kreutzmann on drums, the band plugged in and became the Warlocks.
When the Grateful Dead first started, we were called the Warlocks. We had one strong suit. We had Pigpen in the band. For him, the blues was very natural, and he played harmonica. And he sang really well, and he really had no real wish to be a performer. We sort of forced him into it because we knew he could do it.
At first, they worked as a bar band, playing blues 6 nights a week.
6 nights a week, five sets a night. We got good doing it. I mean, it was a great way to get good, and we were young enough to love it. We made enough so we could quit our day jobs. That happened immediately.
The Warlocks soon changed their name to the Grateful Dead, after running across the phrase in a dictionary. They became the house band for Ken Kesey's acid tests.
We were already from Palo Alto. We all knew Kesey, and we got invited to one of these parties. We went down there. We plugged all our stuff in and played for about a minute, and then we all freaked out. But we made a good impression on everybody in that minute, So we were invited to the next one.
The Dead lived communally in San Francisco and played many free concerts, soon working their way up to the city's ballrooms and the Fillmore West. The band signed a contract with MGM Records in 1966, but its efforts were shelved. In 1967, the Dead signed with Warner Brothers and released their first album, The Grateful Dead, featuring Garcia's Cream Puff War.
No, she can't take your mind and leave.
The album reached the Billboard Top 100 charts. Around this time, Garcia left his first wife for the woman with whom he had the longest relationship, Carolyn Adams, aka Mountain Girl, with whom he would have 2 children. In 1968, the Grateful Dead released its now classic single, Dark Star. By 1970, the band had recorded 5 extraordinary albums in a row. Anthem of the Sun in 1968, Aexomoxoa in 1969, Working Man's Dead, which included the band's first charting single, Uncle John's Band, and American Beauty in 1970, which produced fan favorites such as Truckin'. The band's 1971 live album, Grateful Dead, became its first million seller, and it continued to play to larger and larger audiences. Despite these recordings, unlike most bands, the Grateful Dead focused on playing, not recording, and found massive success through its live shows. The band treated its extremely loyal fans, known as Deadheads, well by keeping ticket prices low and encouraging them to make their own live recordings.
Some nights it would be just awful, and some nights it would be wonderful. And if people caught us on an awful night, they went away going, what was that? And if they caught us on a wonderful night, they enjoyed it and they came back again. It's not a roll of the dice. Something we never had any control of.
As the band's fame increased due to its heavy touring schedule, Garcia's stature as a counterculture icon also grew. Always a bit rebellious, Garcia turned to cocaine, heroin, and alcohol, addictions that would plague him for the remainder of his life. Despite these addictions, Garcia remained incredibly productive throughout the 1970s and 1980s. In addition to the Grateful Dead's constant touring, Garcia took part in numerous musical side projects and also returned to his first love, art. However, in 1986, Garcia fell into a 5-day diabetic coma brought on in part by his constant drug use.
I just laid down one day and didn't get up. I lost about 4 or 5 days there. I still have some serious scars.
The coma was a wake-up call, inspiring Garcia to get clean and dig back into music. Following his recovery, the band recorded its most successful commercial album, In the Dark, which featured the band's only top 40 single, Touch of Grey. During the 1990s, Garcia's health continued to decrease, affecting his ability and desire to continue touring. Sadly, the decade was also marked by a relapse of the drug use and recovery cycle. Garcia managed to maintain a bit of his rebellious spark, however. In 1994, the Grateful Dead was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Garcia refused to attend the induction ceremony, so the band was forced to bring out a cardboard cutout on stage.
Say goodnight, Jerry.
Good night, Jerry!
On August 9th, 1995, Jerry Garcia died in his sleep while in rehab. He was 53 years old.
My brain has an infinite amount of capacity in there that I had no sense of. I didn't know anything about it, but there it was, and I've seen it. I not only saw it, but I walked around in it. I had a million incarnations in it. I lived and died in it. I had experiences beyond anything I've ever experienced, more real than anything I ever experienced in this world.
While a funeral was held at St. Stephen's Episcopal Church in Belvedere, California, thousands of fans showed up at San Francisco's Golden Gate Park to pay homage to their idol. On April 4th, 1996, after a total lunar eclipse, half of Garcia's ashes were spread into the Ganges River in India. The remaining ashes were poured into the San Francisco Bay. While Jerry Garcia's musical talents were undeniable, he transcended his music and, along with his bandmates, created a real movement, building a community of fans who experienced life through the Grateful Dead's music and by the band's side.
I'm just going to play for my life. When I forget what I'm doing or why I'm doing it, I play for my life.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and to like this video. If you'd like to be notified of new videos, please hit the bell button by the subscribe button.